Yo, welcome back to another episode of the High Value Agent Podcast, where we inspire people to create a better life through real estate. Listen, y'all, if I had $1,000 and started all the way over, and you can even put me in a different market, here's a step by step breakdown on what I would do to gain momentum and start making money within the next 90 days. Okay. So, this is imperative, and the reason why I'm bringing this up is because most agents, they lose their first year, not really because they didn't like have the talent, but because they spent money or time on the wrong things, and they did this at the wrong time. So I don't want to make what I'm going to break down to you a how I made it story, because this is not like my actual story, but this is a blueprint built from watching what actually produces income fastest. Okay. And just to give some more context as to how important and germane this blueprint is to the, especially in this time, right? Because we're in a time in the real estate industry where you're seeing a lot of uncertainty from the consumer, but then you're seeing a lot of uncertainty from the agents. And the reality is, a lot of the agents that you know that are in your market, they're not actually winning. They may put on a front like they're winning, but after coaching at this point hundreds of agents, after seeing people go from no sales skills, no experience in real estate to, I mean, they're already writing offers for clients within 3 weeks, and they're in their first year closing 30 plus deals in their first year, right? With all that context, this is proven. Okay. And $1,000 is not a lot of money. Like, it really isn't when we talk about the grand scheme of business. And that's the point. Constraints force clarity. So, one rule before we start: none of this money is going to go towards looking successful. Okay. All of it is going to go towards becoming successful. Keyword: becoming, not looking the part, but actually living the part. So, the first thing that I would focus on, if I had one stack, $1,000, okay, a stack of root, and I had that money to apply to start building up my business, I would find a database or a CRM. Okay. Now, I'm not going to name any, but there are plenty of CRMs in the market that are affordable if it's just you. Okay. Now, they do stack up and with add ons, and if you got a team and all that stuff, oh, yeah, it can get a little expensive. Trust me. But if I'm talking about just you can find CRMs for less than $50 a month. Okay. Now, this is important because everything in this business, well, probably not everything, but a lot of the business that you're going to actually do and close out is going to come from your ability to actually follow up with people, to nurture relationships, right? You got to build and maintain relationships. You got to build and nurture relationships over time. And so, if you don't have a place to put all of your contacts and information into a system, so then you can systematically touch them, reach out to them, have a conversation with them, right? Continue to build a rapport with them. You don't actually have a business. In, you actually have a hobby. Like, you're not in a business anymore. You're just doing a hobby. Now, again, you do not need the most expensive CRM. You just need one that you're going to commit to using consistently. So, when it comes to the budget, you got to do your research on Google. There are multiple ones out there, like I said, that have great tools and they're affordable. So, day one, you're going to put every single person that you know, you're going to load them into the CRM, not just people that may buy or sell, everyone, everyone. This is what I call your sphere of influence. Like, you're going to put your friends and family, uh, acquaintances, anybody that you have their contact information, you're going to put them into the CRM. That's what I would do. Okay. And I'm going to get into what I would do once I do that part. but spending money first on that. Now, some people may take, well, I got to take some money to do some marketing, to do to blah blah blah. Listen, we're not spending any money on marketing. You don't need to spend a dime, a cent on marketing to make a high to build a high income business. You don't. You really don't. Okay. And again, this is the power. You use a marketing budget to help add fuel to the fire, right? And so once you have residual income to put back into the business, then you can do that. But I'm gonna have CRM. The next thing I'm going to spend money on is I'm going to spend money on building skills. Okay, so I'm not gonna buy a subscription to Netflix or anything like that. Like I'm gonna ask myself, what is the one thing costing me the most deals right now? Right now, I got the CRM. So the next thing is my ability to convert opportunities, whether it's a buyer consultation, a listing presentation, having knowing what to say, right, and knowing how to move the needle forward in these people's lives through real estate. I got to invest in myself. So that could be scripts, dialogues, role play, coaching, a coach in general, right? A book. I may buy some books. I may listen to podcasts or stuff like that. But I'm going to spend some money on building up my skill set, getting a coach in some way that is going to help me essentially turn a year into a month, if that makes sense. Okay. So, but I'm going to be very conservative on my spend there. But I'm going to probably spend more on my skill building than anything else, right? So that's what I'm doing. Now, let's say I spent, I don't know, let's say I spent $75 on a CRM, and now I'm left with um let's say I no actually let's say I spent $50 on a CRM, okay? And then let's say I'm gonna put a emergency budget to the side. So I'm gonna put about maybe $500 to the side. That's gonna be my emergency account to where as I'm working every single day, I got some money to the side that I can just I know it's there, right? So then that leaves me with $450. I said $500 and then 50, I believe, for the CRM. So I'm going to invest that into some form of coaching, some form of coaching, or some form of investing in myself. Okay. Very simple. And I don't probably have to spend that much, but I'm going to budget that amount because that's how important I believe having a coach or having investing in your skill set is. That's how important it is. Now, here's where the rubber meets the road. And this is the mindset. The competitive edge that I'm going to have is going to be because I'm starting out, my availability, how quick I get back to responding to leads, and outworking the competition. So the agents that don't make it in like their first year or just don't make it in real estate in general, they're not failing because of a budget. They're failing because they just don't prospect and they don't consistently do the thing, right? That's the prospecting. So making the phone calls, like I maybe need to pay for my phone, right? You know, my cell phone, but making the phone calls is free. And so the conversations that I need to have every single day and the follow-ups I need to have every single day, that stuff is free. That's just effort. Okay. So for the first 90 days, I'm going to be obsessed with calling everyone in my CRM and getting very clear on a certain number of conversations I need to hit per day. Here is a general uh, rule of thumb that the amount of deals that you want to do in your first year, and this is the great for brand new agents, that's the number of conversations you need to have per day. Let me say that one more time. The number of conversations that you have per day on average, that's typically the number of deals that you're going to do in your first year. And year two, year three, that stuff compounds, so it's not as relevant. But that is a general rule of thumb. So for me, I'm going to shoot for 20 conversations a day because I'm going to shoot to do 20 deals. Now, in my first actual year, like my actual first year of real estate, I helped 31 families. So I did 31. But I didn't really track how many conversations I was having per day just because I didn't really start learning that until later in the year. And so I don't, everything up to that point, let's say it was October, November, I don't know how many conversations I had prior to that time. So I didn't really have an accurate number. But the standard would be 20 conversations per day. And that's going to be 5 to 6 days a week of me getting 20 conversations. That's the job. Everything else is a distraction until that number of 20 is being hit consistently. Okay. And when you do the math at that pace, we're talking to not, I don't know, 400 to 500 people every single month, I would say, just quick math in my head. So someone in that group, someone in that 400 to 500 people that you're talking to, someone's going to be ready to move, or they're going to know someone who's ready to move. Your job is to find them. My job will be to find them. And I'm doing that every single day. So my week one, I'm building my database. I'm having conversations. As I'm having conversations with people that are not ready yet, guess what I'm doing? I'm adding them to my database by getting their name, phone number, and email. And I'm just going to keep doing that. I'm going to load every contact that I have. And before you know it, I'm going to have my database week by week is going to continue to grow. And the calls, if you're this is why you want to work on your skills and invest in yourself. When you're making these calls, it's going to be awkward, right? It's going to be a little weird, but that's not a problem. That's not a problem. That's just part of the process and just getting the reps in. So those first 4 weeks, my 20 conversations per day, they're going to come from a mix of different people. My sphere, I may call some expired listings. I may call some for sale by owners. It's just going to be a mixture of people, right? Some will pick up, some will not. And when I'm having these conversations, I'm not pitching anything. I'm just having meaningful, compelling conversations and letting people know that I'm in the business. And if they want to make a move, I'm here to help them, right? Again, this is why investing into a script, investing into your role plays and stuff like that is going to be important because you'll have confidence in what to say. So as I lead into month two, okay, I'm going to get more confident. I'm not going to feel as awkward, right? That stuff's going to fade. I'm going to start hearing patterns from the consumer, the same objections, the same concerns, the same fear. And now with my skill compounding, because of the reps I'm doing, I'm more equipped to handle objections. I'm more equipped to mitigate the fear in the consumer. I'm just building that confidence. And I promise you, by the end of month two, I have active clients. So I can have multiple listings, multiple active buyers. I even may have some pendings by month two because I'm talking to 400 to 500 people a month. Okay. When I get to month three, I'm going to review what's working. I'm going to identify, is there something that's not working that I need to cut? A strategy or something that I need to maybe pivot on or tweak, but I'm going to review my numbers. I'm going to make sure that, and by the way, when you get a CRM, probably should have said this in the beginning, the CRM that you choose, you want to have one that actually does track your calls. It can track your conversations. It can track, pickup rate and stuff like that. There are CRMs out there that will track all that for you. Okay. So I'm going to review my numbers and see what's working, what's not working. And I'm going to cut what is not working. I'm going to double down on what is working. So 90 days in of 20 conversations a day. It doesn't guarantee a deal, but damn it, it makes it nearly impossible to not have a deal. Okay. So if I had $1,000 and I started over, that's what I would do. That's what I would do. And I can be in any market. And I didn't even talk about, okay, I could go door knock neighborhoods that I want to do business in, but what I really, really like is the efficiency of the phone, of calling, texting, emailing. And I could probably make in a week 2,000 plus dials in a week, which if I wanted to get 20 conversations a day, my dial volume is going to be pretty high. Now there are some strategies that you could deploy to be more, get tactical and be more efficient in that, but it's going to be very high volume that I'm going to commit to in in hitting that 20 conversations. And that's okay. That's okay. So the this isn't really about the money. That was my point. Is it's not really about the money in regards to building your business. It's really about what you prioritize. And what you prioritize is what actually is going to produce the income over what you actually can use the money on. You know what I'm saying? Like if you prioritize the 20 conversations and then you got a CRM, boom, like do your thing. Get a script, practice a script, role play that script with a partner. If you can, if in that, if you can find a coach or pay somebody to mentor you over the next 90 days that actually knows what the hell they're talking about, because there's a lot of people that don't, then make that investment. But man, most agents are spending money and spending time just wasted trying to find deals, trying to find opportunities. And a lot of them are spending that money and just waiting for somebody to come to them. If you're brand new or starting over, you cannot sit back and wait. You cannot do it. All right. So that's what I would do if I was starting this over. Notice I didn't say spending money on marketing or billboards or Facebook ads or radio or partnering with a lender on homes.com. Like I didn't talk about none of that. That stuff you could do later. The main thing is get the CRM, invest in your development, 20 conversations a day for 90 days straight, 5 to 6 days a week. Boom. And that by day 90, you're making money. Promise you. All right, y'all. I'm gonna wrap this one up. Put a bow on this one. Hope this is helpful. As always, leave a review, comment, subscribe. If there's anything that I can do to support you further, reach out to me directly, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.